Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I'm not sure when you're watching this video, but I'm just glad you're here. Welcome, my name is Mr. Nichols and I have your student this year in our Computer Science A Java class. This video is going to show you all around our Schoology page and probably most importantly, all around the Code HS website where your student will be doing a large majority of their curriculum work. First stop is going to be Schoology. Let's take a look at what we've got there. Welcome to the AP Computer Science A Schoology page. You can see that it's pretty minimalistic because we again are trying to keep it simple for the students this year. What you will need to know is going to be found under the weekly agendas. I break down the weeks every single week into what they have due. If it scrolls out, you can see what the dates are, but every single one of these is going to look relatively the same. They all are going to have some sort of an overview and then some sort of an option board. But let's start with this overview because this is the main bread and butter of Schoology. On this particular document, I have everything your student's going to need for the next week. I have at the top the weekly goals, aka the curriculum's content that you are going to learn. Those things are things that I would expect everyone to go through and say, yes, I know how to do these things by the time that we are done. In the middle is the mandatory work where you can find all the assignments and lessons that students have to complete 100%. These are going to be due every single Monday at midnight. So technically students have all the weekend and the Monday of the week after to complete their assignments. Late assignments will be credited a penalty depending on how late those assignments are turned in. The last thing that we see is the option board. That does not mean that this is optional, it's actually mandatory. But instead what this is an option between different prompts. Typically, I try to offer at least 2 flip grids, which are 30-second videos in which students respond to a prompt with specific details. And typically, not this week for instance, I try to have some sort of a coding-related challenge for students to pull out also. It's a comfort level for which one they choose, but any one of those 3 can earn a student full credit for this. Besides that, on Schoology, the option board folder that you see is just where students are going to go ahead and see the direct links to their Flipgrids where they can upload their videos. Otherwise, everything else that I supply is going to be on the Code HS website, which we will take a look at now, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Code HS Classroom. This is going to be a one-stop shop for most of your students throughout the whole entire school year. As you can see, we have several different units that we will be getting through, and each unit is broken down into individual lessons. The lessons are numbered in a very numerical way, making it nice and easy for us to see. One of the things that is really nice is that each lesson offers pretty much the same kind of status every single time. It allows us to watch some sort of a video, take some sort of a quiz, go through some brief examples, and then have some homework for the students. So let's just go ahead and jump right into one of these and see what these things look like. For example, before I even get started, one of the things that I want to talk about with students is their home setup. I do highly suggest that students use 2 devices. It's easiest if a student uses their iPad for Zoom so that they can hear me and watch on their iPad, and then also to have a second computer as their device in which they can actually code and keep up with what they're doing. If a student is using just an iPad and can benefit from having an external keyboard, please send me an email and I will be able to get those to you as soon as possible. But for our lessons, what you'll notice is that there are going to be 2 ways to always view lessons. You can view them as videos or you can view them as slides. The benefit of the video is that you do get a Code HS representative kind of going through them with you, but in class, I always like to go through the slides, give my own perspective of things. One nice thing I always tell the students is if you have the dual setup, you can have Zoom on your iPad and you can also, in the video setting, take notes. So let me show you really quickly. A lot of students ask me, where do these end up? So we're going to go ahead and type that in there. I just want to say, if these are my notes, where am I going to see this later on for a useful maybe task that we have? So after we go through some notes, there's always most likely going to be some sort of a quiz afterwards. I am starting to use my quizzes as a flipped classroom in which I will actually go through some lessons, and then for homework, I will assign students to work ahead 2 lessons. I will say, go watch the video and go take the quizzes. That allows me to come back to class the next time that we meet, and we can briefly go over the notes, answer any immediate questions students have, and then spend more time going on with exercises so students get the hands-on questioning that they need in class. But usually after these, what we will see is we will see a lot of these little pieces of paper at the bottom that are examples. Examples are fully written, fully functional programs that the student can utilize what has been in the lesson in an actual program. There's always a big difference between what we see in notes and what we write as code. So as you can see, these programs do run fully. There's also some really neat examples that students can see off of these. So inside of here, they give you like what this example is actually doing. But for the most part, we go through these as a class. When we go through all the examples, what is left afterwards are usually the assignments. These assignments are the ones that are going to need to be collected on a weekly basis. So basically every Monday, I'm collecting the last week's assignments. And what's really nice about this is that this is a self-graded kind of process. So when students go to run their code, it will perform a lot of these little checks for them. In order to earn full credit, or in this case, any credit, you need to have green check marks for every single one of these. If they are not green, your student is not going to earn full credit. I will show you what this looks like in a little bit. Otherwise, what else is here is you have the assignment button that gives you a rundown of, again, what the assignment was. There's a docs tab, which gives you every resource you would possibly need in order to answer this particular question over here. And then there are a few key features also in the More tab. The first I want to point out is this conversation. Quite often in computer science, and especially in a situation where we are not face-to-face with students, it might be very difficult to solve a problem that you don't know how to answer. So this conversation tab allows students to ask questions directly to me. I then get notified that they have asked me a question, and I can respond within usually a day or two. I try to go through the queue of questions at least once every day and clear them out. The other thing that's really neat about this, you can visit the notes that you took from class. So these are the slides that you have just gone through. And then where did we see we were going to see this? We found it at the bottom of the saved notes section. So as long as you are taking good notes or you liked the notes that we saw here, you are allowed to have these open while you code next to it. So there are quite a few assignments that we're going to go through. What I want to show you really quickly is what's going to happen to these assignments if they are and are not submitted correctly. So in the case that we have here, let's say I went through this, I tried to submit this, but I forgot what I was doing. Some of these don't have green check marks. If you click the Continue Anyway button, your student is not going to receive credit for this particular assignment. And you can see at the bottom that it actually shows up as yellow. What you really want is you want these assignments to show up as green. Here is an example of some of these green assignments that you see. When they are green, this means that somebody has gone through and fully actually entered in everything that they wanted. So in this situation, we were supposed to add some instance variables. I think there's going to be a string called cheese. I think there's going to be an int that's called num of pepperonis. And I think there's going to be int called a num of sausages. And if you go ahead and try to submit your code, it'll say, thank you very much. Your code has been submitted, and you continue. If you pass, if there are particular check marks that you have to pass, you will pass them, but do notice that it does turn green if it is fully 100% submitted. Again, if it is yellow, your student is not going to earn the credit for that particular problem. So the big idea is that if your student does not like the grades that they see in the grade book, it is most likely because they have not turned in and fully submitted their assignment. So please check that first.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping by my class today. If you ever need to contact me, my email is, watch this magic, go. So go ahead and email me at any point in time. Don't forget, students can also sign up for AM or PM tutoring via Schoology. Your students know how to do that. I've shown them in class. So go ahead, sign up. Let me know if you guys need anything. Contact me with any questions. But ladies and gentlemen, have yourselves a wonderful day.